The M1 Pro. Let's talk about it. Similar to the M1 Pro is the first of its kind, coming out in 2020 with the release of the Macbook Pro 14-inch and 16-inch. You are also able to opt in for the M1 Max, which is a significantly more powerful processor, but I chose to go for the M1 Pro. It's a very useful device and there's really no limits to it. The battery life is able to last up to a week for me depending on what I do and how much I use it. When I first got the device about 2 years ago, it blew my mind away. As of right now, I couldn't see myself ever upgrading. It excels at many different tasks. With those extra GPU cores, when it comes to video editing, you're able to export those videos and render them with no problem whatsoever. Some of the upgrades over the original M1 MacBook Pro consist of extra GPU cores, extra CPU cores, extra base RAM, extra base storage, and a much better display. Both the display on the 16-inch and the 14-inch are the same, those being 120Hz refresh rate and XDR. If I'm on the go, I never find myself needing to bring a charger with me unless I'm staying for an extended period of time, and I'm able to do any of my tasks that I'd be able to do on my desktop computer. It's plenty fast enough for anything I'd ever need it to do, but it's also amazing for content consumption. It's very enjoyable to watch movies, YouTube. It's good for doing video conferencing, good for content creation like I said, and really it's just a good all-around device. Compared to the M1 Air, which is another device that I have some experience with, I can tell between the two of them the battery life is not very different. The biggest thing that I noticed between the two of them is the RAM. My 14-inch I have the base model, which comes with 16GB of RAM, compared to the base 8GB of the M1 Air. Multitasking is flawless on the 14-inch. The display is plenty big enough to have multiple windows open, and I never find it having to reload things, or I never even find it lagging behind. The only issue that I have ever noticed with the 14-inch Pro was at two different times. One, when I first got the device, it took it about 2 weeks for it to get into a decent battery cycle, meaning I used to find the battery life not being as long as it should have been. The other issue that I've experienced with it, which is kind of a case-by-case issue, I find myself constantly when I open the device takes several seconds, sometimes minutes to connect to the Wi-Fi. It's not really an issue, I'd say, but I do wish it would connect more quickly. I really love the device. There's no physical damage to the exterior. The brushed aluminum has held up amazing. I do notice fingerprints tend to stick to the screen even if I don't touch the screen. Usually from the oil left on the keyboard is what I imagine that's from. For the average user, depending on what your workflow is, if it's just simple tasks like browsing the web, checking your emails, occasionally watching YouTube, I'd say there's no reason to jump to the Pro until you get into the category of, being a photographer, a video creator, or even a student. Having the extra ports on the side is very useful, although I never find myself using all of them. I do love that it has a MagSafe charger. It's just nice to know that if something were to happen or somebody were to trip over the cord, it wouldn't yank the whole computer off the desk. It's easy to connect and it's easy to disconnect when I'm ready to go. As I frequently remind myself and others, this device is usually the most powerful device in a household. Before I upgraded my PC, that was even the case for me, even in terms of video editing. The export times of it are amazing. I never find myself waiting for too long. I often find myself doing things in the background for a couple minutes while I wait, typically creating the thumbnails for my videos. Looking back at it now, considering the price difference between the M1 Pro and the M1 Air, after I would have already upgraded to the extra RAM and extra storage, it just made more sense to go for the M1 Pro. It's much faster, it has stereo quality microphones, excellent speakers, and a 1080p webcam. This is the audio and video quality of the M1 Pro MacBook Pro. Let me know what you guys think down below. There's not much more else I could ask of a laptop really. The device really has no limits. I've never found myself needing a more powerful machine or wishing I had went with a different option. I do like the wedge shape of the M1 Airs, but considering those are being phased out anyways, my device looks plenty future-proof. Another part of the Apple ecosystem that I love is being able to take my FaceTime calls on my laptop. I can also respond to messages while I'm doing schoolwork and multitask and do whatever I need to. The only limitation to this machine is the gaming capabilities. Although I find it plenty powerful enough for simple games like Minecraft, Terraria, The Sims, and many other games that are supported on M1. and many other games that are supported on Apple Silicon. I'm sure it would be plenty powerful enough to power more intensive AAA games. This device just doesn't have support for it from the devs. I would like to see this change in the future just so I could rely on this device for all my tasks, especially on the go. I would hate to have a Windows laptop and a Mac laptop just to be able to meet both of my workflows. Apple, please work on this. Other than that, I have no complaints from the device. Even if you wanted to, you could even use the webcam and microphones to record your YouTube videos. You really do need good lighting to be able to use this. So my final conclusion for the M1 Pro is that it is an excellent device. It doesn't feel slow in 2024. Even though the model itself is becoming out of date, it still does not feel like I'll ever need to upgrade. For the average consumer, the M1 Air was plenty. The M2 Air will be plenty, and the M3 Air will be plenty for them as well. If you're able to find an M1 Pro MacBook for sale for a good price, I'd say go for it. It's going to be plenty future-proof, plenty powerful enough. It still is able to compete with the M3 models, the M2 models, and compared to the M1 Air, it is significantly better in performance-wise, and the battery life is still right there with it. Let me know though what you guys think down below in the comments. Be sure to leave a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.